Morning, Rob Anderson here. I had an inquiry this morning for a person who was asking me how they would start up a fashion boutique or a shop. And they were looking for business advice on that. Now, whilst I'm obviously capable of helping with that advice, I firstly want to just quickly tell everybody where I'm a specialist in these days is in the online marketing side. In other words, how to promote the products that you've got online. So, for example, if you were a supplier of women's fashion clothing, I would be able to show you how to set up a website based on that if people are looking for it. So, for example, let's go to keywords. I would show you that, for example, in a place, in fact, at the moment I've got it set for Uganda, and I've got it set on broad and exact. So let me remove broad and show you what happens. It tells you that in Uganda, that's these numbers down the right hand side, only 28 people look up the word boutique in an entire month in the country. Now, it doesn't say a whole lot about what the strength of the economy is there and all sorts of things. It probably just tells you that the bulk of people are not using online search facilities to find stuff. In other words, if you wanted to start an online shopping website in Uganda, you're probably not going to make any money. However, you could be in Uganda and start an online shopping site and sell to the United States and make a lot of money through Amazon or other drop shipping facilities, and in a way own a boutique that could make you a very, very wealthy person by following website marketing techniques, and in fact never need to carry any stock at all, or if you do, you carry it through drop shipping methods. Now, that's the sort of thing I would teach you to target these numbers online. So let me show you. If you'd said to me, I want to run an online website for clothing or boutiques, I would then show you how to go about sourcing it. So, for example, here I'd go to baby boutique, online fashion, perhaps. That's 12,000 people. That's more than enough. Bridal boutiques is nice and targeted from a niche point of view. So let's take, it's okay, let's go back to the online fashion. I'm not sure if fashion is the right word. I think online boutique would be a better, more targeted. But I'd go back up here and I would create a search that would tell me if online boutique has enough potential, perhaps not, if there's only 2 or 3 related keywords, and this is what I'd do. However, the inquiry I got was, I suspect, more for opening a real physical hardcore boutique in my town. Now, let me then run through that very, very fast. If it were mine and I wanted to do that, it becomes a capital intensive business idea. In other words, you need to know your fashion industry. I would more than likely fail as a boutique owner because I have no interest in fashion, and I have no idea if something is completely 5 years out of date or is the latest skinny jeans or whatever it is that's worldwide. And that's all good, I get that. It's everybody to their own passion. So my point is that I would be a very, very bad boutique owner. I would have to do something like hippie clothing that I do have a vague interest in, and have all sorts of tasseled and floral long dress things or something. Either way, if it were myself, I would go about it. If I had the capital, well, I would take a trip to Thailand and China and places like that, and I would physically go through every boutique. I would tug on the sleeves of clothing to see if they tear off. I would check the quality. Hell, I'd put clothing on and jump, slide down, the side of a mountain. Well, not quite, but to check how strong the quality is and all of that sort of thing. And at some point, I would purchase stock and then go back and decorate my boutique correctly and fill it with stock, and then run an advertising promotions, launch campaign, etc. And I suspect that I would therefore never look back again. However, it's easy to say all of that so casually, you know, and we're talking about many thousands of dollars worth of investment, and most people don't have that. So obviously one way would be to do a business plan and to raise the funds or to get a partner. That's all good. Personally, I would start off with picking a very, very tight niche. Let's say in South Africa where I'm at, I would do school matric dance, which is like the prom dance, dresses. And I would choose a specific style that I know is very, very popular, and I would bring in 100 of those or 50 of those. And I would use word of mouth to turn those 50 into 100, into 200, into regular clients. That would then branch out to evening wear, to eventually where I'd be carrying stock. And I would initially perhaps even do it on a party plan system, whereby you go from home to home and you set up parties and you do things like that. But doing it that way is great, but it'll take you a while to build up your cash flow and your stock. But at some point you'd have enough stock to pay for premises in a decent upmarket shopping center or high traffic area, and your boutique would be on its own feet. That's pretty much the best I would do. Now, to get back to what I do, just to end this all off, is that should you choose to do, say, online boutiques as a website, you'd need to go back to, or go to my Small Business Opportunities website, sorry, nothing opening here very fast, and read through the content in there, and perhaps click on, my bad, this is not working so great, say this one with the boxer dog, Bring the Fresh. Purchase that course and let the Bring the Fresh guys, they're very, very good, very professional, let them show you how to do your online marketing if you're a complete beginner. These guys teach you from step one, and within a couple of weeks you will have enough knowledge to have done it. You could employ me to build your website for you. Again, you just asked me that. In South African rands, runs from as little as 2,000 rand to probably an average of 15 to 20,000 rand. So that you could do too. Finally, another way, if you don't have the monies to go sailing overseas and dig through places, is you look up wholesale fashion clothing supplier type places. One of them is Alibaba. It's a very big portal, if you like, for all of these sort of things. And you would then have to go through these kind of sites and decide, okay, they look great. So let me just pick any one. Here's the evening dress example I had. So it's a long Grecian maxi dress, one shoulder, wholesale, wow. And it's a Thailand supplier. You would have to order a minimum of 20 pieces. And it seems cool. So you would contact the supplier, you would send things, pretty soon you'd be detailing and getting things from them. So there's a vague chance that some of them will see to allow you to purchase fewer as a startup, or you pay slightly more and only order 2 or 3. I have dealt with a few people in the past in other businesses through Alibaba, and in fact even advertised on there, so that's all good. If you go back to wholesale fashion, you can see here from, say, global sources would appear to be one of the big ones. But you'd have to literally do a lot of research. Here we go. And in fact, now that I think about that, I do know of 1 or 2 others that I've seen in the past. But you would go here and you would look for the products that you would want to have. I do suggest that you stick to, having seen this made me think of it, stick to your clothing, stick to your niche, make it very, very tight. Just leather goods, just evening wear, just teenage fashion, just that sort of thing in the beginning. Build yourself a niche of followers. Try not to supply every single thing from toddlers and children's clothing right down to comfortable old people clothing. by sticking to it, you're likely to have a more accurate answer. So don't add jewelry and all of that in the beginning. Allow that you need it to grow strong and stable before you switch sideways. That's it. That's my answer. Easier for me to have done this answer to give good advice to my email inquiry, but at the same time it doesn't hurt for me to have brought this up and put it onto my website and let you guys get a bit of advice from there. Appreciate your trouble. Take care. Thank you.